Holy bloody moly, The Expanse continues to rock my socks and tighten my jocks, and Season 5 is no exception. I simply cannot get enough of this show. It is a masterpiece and I am loving every second of its existence. So this video will contain spoilers, obviously, for Season 5 and probably previous seasons. There will be some minor book comparisons, but I will not be spoiling anything from upcoming books or parts of the book we have not yet seen in the TV show adaptation. Also, if you want, you should check out my other Expanse videos and all my other videos, including my dope-ass lifestyle cooking adventure channel, Choo-Roo, where you can see me in all my glory, doing super cool things and making lots of dick jokes. So this season was less convoluted than the previous ones and contains way less alien stuff, which makes breaking it down somewhat easier. So Season 5 of The Expanse contains basically two main plots or two major adventures with some smaller storylines woven throughout. Adventure 1, Marcos the Terry. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly interrupt the video because for some reason, I know I'm going to get fucking comments on this. For some reason, I kept calling Marco Marcos. I edited the whole video. In my previous videos, I called him Marco. I've read all the books. I know his name is Marco, but for whatever reason, probably, I fucking just called him Marcos. Spent a week editing the video. It's too late. I'm not going back. You just have to put up with the mispronunciation. I apologize, but you know what? I'm not even sorry. Fuck you. Here we have Marcos and Ara's Free Navy and what that means for the belt, Marcos' attack on Earth, Naomi's past and her relationship with Marcos and her estranged son Philip, stealing the proto-molecule from Fred, the murder of Fred, Alex and Bobby become detectives, Naomi's escape and rescue, the Rogue Mars faction, and the alien tech and the Ring Ghost. There's also a little bit of Holden, Bull on the reporter stuff, I don't know if I'll touch on that too much, Drummer and her gang-banging crew, hubba hubba, Luna stuff and the power struggle after the Earth bombing, and sadly, the death of Alex. Adventure 2, Amos and Peaches go to White Castle. Here we have Amos and his past, Peaches and her future, Baltimore Mafia, and the escape from Earth. This is pretty straightforward and less busy than the other stuff going on, but it was a wild ride and I will fill in some gaps as this is very important as it fleshes out the Amos character, who is a major player in the series as we all know. It also helps explain why he is the brute that he is, and we get to see his rockin' body, which I for one very much enjoyed. Ooh, baby. There are timestamps in the description if you want to jump to anything specifically. So I will start with the Amos storyline as it's pretty straightforward and then we can get into the gritty shit in Adventure 1. Amos grew up rough, man. He was severely abused as a child and was in fact forced into sex work as a kid. This is why as an adult he has such sensitivity when it comes to kids, hence his brutality towards Dr. Strickland, the mad scientist who experimented on the kids and made them into protomonsters, and so on. However, Amos was not always called Amos. His name was actually Timmy, but more on that in a bit. One day, this chick Lydia took him in and more or less raised him. In the books, however, when Amos was like 15 or something, they ended up having a sexual relationship as well. It's super dark and weird, but this is left out of the show. Regardless, Amos feels strongly for Lydia in one way or another. When he was growing up, he was also a badass gangster working as muscle for a crime boss called Amos Burton. The real Amos asks Timmy to murder this dude, Eric, but Timmy kills Amos instead and takes his identity. With the help of Eric, Timmy becomes Amos and gets away off Earth to start a new life, leaving his gangster life behind him. A lot of Amos's backstory and the flashbacks and stuff in the show can be found in or came from the Expanse novella The Churn, so give that a read if you want that sort of backstory fleshed out a little bit. Anyway, at the start of Season 5, Lydia, Amos's surrogate mother of sorts, dies. Amos heads to Earth to pay his respects or something to that regard, or to see if anything untoward led to her death. He meets Lydia's husband and seeking the help of his old buddy Eric, who is now a huge mafia boss himself, Amos manages to help Lydia's husband keep his house. Before heading back to space, Amos goes to see Clarissa Mao, the terrorist and mass murderer from a while back who is serving multiple life sentences in prison for her crimes. Remember, she tried to kill Holden out of revenge for her psycho father? After all the shit went down, Clarissa saw the light and turned good. Well, at least that messed up cookie dough with bugs in it realized that possibly, just maybe, she was in the wrong, and Holden is actually a pretty top bloke. After her epiphany, Amos befriended her for whatever reason, probably seeing a lot of similarities in her as he sees in himself, that dark past, that violent desire, and so on. But when visiting her in prison, a big fuck-off asteroid sent by Marcos and Aras hits Earth and all hell breaks loose, but more on that in a bit. So together, Clarissa and Amos brave the apocalypse in a desperate attempt to get off the ravished planet. They seek the help of his old buddy turned crime boss Eric, and together they all team up and get off the planet by stealing some rich fucker's personal spaceship. A fair bit of action takes place between the rocks hitting Earth and Amos and the funky bunch escaping, escaping, but it's all pretty straightforward post-apocalypse survival shit, so no need to go into detail here. Amos desperately wants to return to his crew because without them, what little humanity he has slowly slips away and the monster in him returns. He can't make moral decisions very well on his own. He struggles with empathy and thus he needs to follow a leader, someone good like Naomi or Holden. He realizes this and thus knows that without their shining guidance, the beast will return. We see evidence of this throughout the show. Amos has very little, if any, empathy. He enjoys violence, but not unlike Dexter from the show Dexter, Amos aims his violence at baddies. I mean, if you're gonna mash someone's face in whilst coming furiously in your pants, it might as well be a bad guy's face, right? But it's a slippery slope, and without someone good to follow, he could easily fall way off the deep end. So he battles to return to his crew. A bunch of shit happens and Amos and his crew, minus Alex, are reunited. Clarissa, or Peaches as Amos likes to call her, ends up on the Rossi with the gang for future adventures to be had. Amos calls her Peaches because her terrorist alias was Melba, and Peach Melba is a dessert or something. I don't know, I've never had it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's cute and I hope these two bang it out, and I wish I could be a sandwich between them whilst they do that. I mean, what a power couple, right? So that's pretty much the Amos story in this season. A lot happened in his adventure, but it's not overly complex. However, it was cool as shit. Amos is my fave character by far, so it was cool to see him get mad screen time. Anyway, let's get into the gooey stuff. So-called freedom fighter, but actually just a terrorist, idealistic, extremist mass murderer, Marcos Inaris was once the lover of Naomi Nagata. They had a son, Philip, but Naomi noticed the darkness and abusiveness in Marcos and escaped his manipulative clutches. Marcos hid her son Philip from her, and despite trying to find her son, she eventually stopped and more or less moved on with her life as the abuse from Marcos was too great to bear, at least for the time being. After Marcos came back into the picture years later, she tries once more to track down her son Philip with the aim to convince him to bail on Marcos and come boogie with her. But before going into detail regarding Naomi, let's talk about the attack on Earth and how this was achieved. When the ring gates opened up, a shitload of new planets, habitable planets with breathable air and abundance of resources more or less, became available to those with rocket ships who could get there. Entire planets, uncolonized planets, kinda, more on that in a bit, are ripe for the taking for those bold enough to try. Because of this, terraforming Mars seems like a waste of time now. Why spend so much time, resources, money, risk, and so on trying to create a civilization on a dead planet like Mars when you can simply fly to another world that is already habitable? A world containing water, life, trees maybe, breathable air, who knows? There are thousands of worlds ripe for the taking, so Mars essentially starts going broke. Chaos breaks out, and Mars and the Mars government more or less fall to pieces. A bunch of Mars military types turn corrupt, and that's when Marcos makes his move. Last season, a team led by Philip get their hands on some Mars stealth technology, stealth paint. They coat a bunch of asteroids with the shit, essentially making them invisible to standard radar, or whatever the technology and shit that they're using in the show. Basically, these rocks become undetectable. Marcos launches a bunch of these rocks at Earth, and before Earth can detect them, they plunge into the planet, causing mass destruction. Remember, a big rock once wiped out the dinosaurs, right? So throwing a bunch of rocks at Earth might not seem like a big deal, but it really is. Earth is hammered and billions upon billions of people die. But why Marcos do this? The Expanse has always dealt with issues such as class inequality. The Belters are the minorities in this case and are often oppressed by the richer factions such as Earth and Mars. Marcos is an idealist and wants to stick it to the man being the inners, i.e. Mars, and in this case Earth, who Marcos believes are the oppressors of his people. Mars is more or less out of the picture due to the ring gates, so Marcos aims his fury at Earth. He creates his own military by trading with Mars and acquiring a bunch of Mars ships, more on that in a bit, and weapons, more on that in a bit, and then starts radicalizing the belt. He has created his own navy, which he calls the Free Navy. During all of this, Naomi, who went looking for her son, gets captured and is held prisoner by Marcos and tries to turn her son against Marcos, or more accurately, tries to get her son Philip to see what's really going on, to see who Marcos really is. But Philip has been radicalized and is angry that his mum left him in the first place. He is young and naive, but more on Naomi's adventures in a bit, I promise. So Holden is chilling with Fred and showing him some pretty spooky stuff, the ring ghosts. I'll talk a bit about the ghosts at the end of the video and what this all means. So Holden is like, dude, the rings are eating ships, but then this big fuck off robot attacks and Fred is killed by a Marcos spy, and the proto-molecule, the sample, is stolen. Remember, a while back, the gang were meant to destroy the molecule, but Naomi gave it to Fred, and Fred has been holding onto it ever since. The proto-molecule, you know, the thing that turns kids into monsters and entire stations into spooky blue blobs, is a powerful weapon, or at least it can be, so Fred has been holding onto this as a trump card. Earth and Mars are not going to attack the belt if they possess the terrifying proto-molecule, right? But they should have destroyed it because now Marcos has it, and Fred is dead. In the books, however, Fred did not die because he is a fucking tank, but anyway, in the show he's dead. Towards the end of the season, we find out what Marcos really had planned for the proto-molecule. Marcos traded it with the rogue faction from Mars for control of the Sol system. So a corrupt general and a bunch of Martian military types took off through the ring to another planet to set up shop, to start experimenting with the molecule and to colonize the new planet. We don't know much about this or what they're doing at this stage, but we know he and Marcos made a deal. In exchange for the proto-molecule, the rogue Mars faction will help Marcos secure the Sol ring gate, and they will fuck off to the other side and leave the solar system in the hands of Marcos. Essentially, the rogue Martians leave the solar system for good, setting up a minefield on the other side of the gate so no one can follow, and Marcos and his free navy block access to all other planets and are left to their own devices on their side of the ring, the Earth side. Marcos did this for one main reason: Belters cannot survive on planets. The gravity is too high and they get all ouchy. They are born in space. They are low gravity people, right? But if everyone fucks off to the other planets, who will feed the belt? Live soil comes from Earth. Without Earth helping the belt, without food, soil, and so on, without Mars and their biodomes, the belt will starve. Or so Marcos believes. So his whole play, his attack on Earth, his dealings with the corrupt Martian military, everything he did was to secure the ring gate, to stop further colonization of new planets, to take control of the solar system so that the Belters can remain fed, so Belters have the upper hand, so Belters will not starve. It's pretty ambitious, but he kind of pulled it off. Really, I think he just likes the glory of it all. He is vain, he is arrogant, he has cool hair, he's a dick, but he has his navy, he has his son, and he has control of the ring gate. So that's pretty much the Marcos story thus far. So let's quickly talk about Naomi and her escape, and then we will wrap up a few things and talk about the ring ghosts and whatever. Naomi, who is a fucking boss by the way, escapes the clutches of Marcos by jettisoning through space on she jetsons through space onto her little ship. By the way, modern scientists suggest that this is possible to survive a few seconds in the vacuum of space outside of a spacesuit. Unlike all the movies we grew up with, opening a door to space will not create this wild fucking windstorm, this vacuum, and that will suck all your guts out or whatever. It just doesn't work that way apparently. You won't instantly freeze, your eyes won't explode, probably you will just run out of air and suffocate, then like slowly freeze or whatever. But this will take a few seconds, and Naomi ejects herself with something cool, probably oxygenated blood and like drugs and cool sci-fi stuff. So anyway, she escapes but is trapped on this little ship. Marcos rigged the ship as a trap to kill Holden. The ship is booby-trapped and is playing a fake distress call to lure Holden and the Rossi. Earlier, he tried to blow up the Rossi on Tycho Station but was foiled by Naomi, so out of spite, he rigs her ship to blow when the Rossi approaches. Naomi is now trapped on the ship but can't undo the trap or the booby trap. Everything is set to blow and she can't for the love of her figure out how to disable it. She also doesn't have much air, so she's kind of limited to a few rooms or other rooms for a few seconds only. She does manage to alter the distress signal, however, which gives everyone a heads up, but Detective Alex and Bobby the babe, oh god, she's fucking hot, they fail to figure it out in time and try to rescue Naomi anyway. Naomi, failing to stop the rigged ship, bails at the last minute and desperately tries to warn the approaching Alex. She doesn't have much air and is slowly dying, but is rescued by Bobby at the last second, and that's that. Naomi is saved and everyone lives happily ever after, except Alex, who dies. So this fucking sucks. In the books, Alex is not dead, so this is a real bastard of a thing. In the show, Alex died from a stroke. Too many drugs, too many high G's, whatever. A risk everyone takes when flying so wildly through space. It's a real bummer, but at least he died doing what he loved. All he wanted to do was fly, and fly he did. And die he did. He done gone died during the flying. So if he ain't dead in the books, why get written out of the show? So this kinda sucks like a lot. Cas Anvar got sacked. The studio kicked him off the show due to multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. Apparently he is a very bad man and was accused of some pretty nasty stuff. Cas Anvar got cancelled. Instead of keeping him on the show, and instead of recasting the character, the showrunners instead decided to write him off. I don't know what he did, I don't know what actually happened, but something like 30 people or I think have come forward against him, and this shit must be taken seriously, so that's that. Alex and Cas Anvar are no more. I'm not going to speculate on this anymore. Hit up Google if you want to know more. I'm just here to talk about the show. So while all this is going on, there is a power struggle amongst the Earthers, and eventually Avasarala ends up back on top. Woo! What a fucking boss. The Rossi crew end up back back together, and a whole new adventure is about to take place in season 6, which is apparently going to be the final season, by the way, but some cast members have hinted at more stories post season 6. But we'll just have to wait and see. There's quite a few more books, so we'll see. Oh, I didn't really talk about Drummer and a polyamorous sex wagon. So after the death of Fred, sexy Drummer and her crew are out thumping about having zero-G orgies and are eventually enlisted by Marcos. Basically, it's a join or die type scenario, but later, Drummer can't deal with it anymore, doesn't want to lose her friend Naomi, and doesn't want to help the lunatic extremist Marcos, so she turns against the Free Navy and fucks him up real good. She's such a babe. Everyone in the show, I would suck and fuck everyone in this show, god damn it. Half the gang leave her after this, and half stay. Some of them think that she made a mistake, she did the wrong thing, and caused the death of her lover and whatever. I don't know. Half leave, half stay. What lies ahead for Drummer? Only time will tell. Ooh, ring ghosts. Okay, let's talk about this. So there are 2 alien entities in this show. We have the ring creators, the aliens who made the protomolecule, the big station, the intergalactic gate system and all that. The gooey yuckies. Then we have this super spooky alien thing who wiped the gooey yuckies out. Remember, the aliens that created the protomolecule and the ring gates are long dead. Something killed them. Something wiped them the fuck out. And this something are the spooky ring ghosts Holden was trying to tell Fred about before he got bang-banged. We see them in action murdering these Martian morons at the end of the season. These are the alien entities that live in what I call the nether region, the gap in between the ring or whatever. We know very little about them at this stage other than that they are obviously far more powerful than the ring creators, which is saying something. The proto-aliens are super advanced, obviously. They created intergalactic travel, the proto-goo and all this fucking crazy shit, and then something even greater than them wiped them out, and is now attacking humans via the ring gates. And that's all there is to it at this stage, I'm afraid. I can't spoil any more. I'm not going to spoil the upcoming books and season, so eat my wanger. Sorry, read the books or wait for season 6 where all will be revealed probably. And that's that, my friend. Season 5 of The Expanse explained. Though I'm sure some grumpy turds will be like, it's not an explanation, it's a recap. Well, yeah, probably. Shut up. It is what it is. You make a video. I got shit to do, like make cooking videos with my partner. Go to youtube.com/Churu. There's a link in the description to see me in all my glory at my second channel. I might even be shirtless from time to time, so if you are into that, check it out. It's Australian-centric about fishing, cooking, camping, hunting, skateboards with leaf blowers strapped to them, and so much more. It's a lot of fun if you're into that kind of thing. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook or whatever. Leave a like, share the video, but share the love, man. I'm desperate and horny. And if you think I had left something out or fucked something up, which I probably have in both those cases, leave a comment and let's get a friendly discussion going. I love this show so much. I love sci-fi, I love life, and I love you. Bye.